The world of Valoria Prime glittered beneath three suns. The planet was home to a proud and ancient race known as the Valkyrans, tall, armored beings with shining blue skin and eyes like liquid gold. They were warriors by birth and honor by tradition. To them, combat was not just a skill, it was the way of life, a sacred art that measured one's worth in the galaxy. Among them lived Karath, a young Valkyran warrior girl known for her unmatched strength, speed, and stubborn pride. Her hair shimmered silver under the twin moons, and her armor was lined with red streaks, a mark of victory over dozens of challenges. She had never lost a duel in her life, and that made her famous across neighboring systems. But fame came with boredom. Karath had defeated every warrior on her planet and many from others. None could match her. So when the Galactic Council announced that a new species had joined the Interstellar Alliance, a small young race called humans from Earth, Karath felt her blood heat with curiosity. Humans? She said with a smirk during the council briefing. Soft creatures of water and bone? And they call themselves warriors? Her friend and sparring partner Tereth laughed. They say these humans are clever, not strong. They fight with machines and tricks, not honor. Karath's golden eyes gleamed. Then I will challenge one. Let them prove their strength before the eyes of all worlds. The council chamber fell silent. Even her commander, General Vorth, frowned. You wish to challenge a human? They are new to the Alliance, perhaps. Not yet ready for such traditions. Karath crossed her arms. If they are not ready to stand, they should not be here. Word of her challenge spread across the stars. Within days, messages flooded from thousands of worlds. Everyone wanted to see this. A proud Valkyran champion testing the courage of humanity's first explorers. Arrival of the humans. Few weeks later, a silver vessel descended into Valoria's grand arena. It was smaller than the towering warships of other species, simple, functional, and human in design. Out stepped a small group wearing flexible suits with the blue and white insignia of the United Earth Expedition Corps. Leading them was Captain Ryan Hale, a calm man in his early 30s with dark eyes that seemed to see everything and nothing at once. He carried no weapon, only a small digital tablet and a confident smile. The crowd murmured. That's the human warrior. He doesn't even wear armor. Karath approached the center of the arena, towering over him by two full heads. Her red and silver armor gleamed and her spear pulsed with plasma energy. You are the human champion? She asked in a deep, challenging voice. Ryan nodded slightly. I'm the representative of Earth, but I didn't come here to fight, I came here to learn. Learn? Karath tilted her head, amused. You accepted a combat challenge. Ryan smiled politely. I accepted a cultural exchange. Laughter echoed through the crowd. The Valkyrans found his words almost insulting. To them, combat was sacred, not something to be talked about or studied. But Karath saw something unusual in his calmness. Very well, human. You may learn while I show you the meaning of true strength, the arena of honor. The arena was massive, a circular coliseum surrounded by glowing energy shields. Thousands of spectators filled the stands, eager to witness the event. Drones hovered overhead to capture every angle. Karath raised her spear. We fight until surrender or defeat. You may use any weapon your people possess. Ryan's crew exchanged worried glances, but he remained calm. I will not use a weapon, he said. What? Karath laughed out loud. You challenge a warrior of Valoria with empty hands? I challenge no one, Ryan said softly. But I accept your challenge, the signal blared. The match began. Karath dashed forward with speed that blurred her form. Her spear struck, but Ryan sidestepped in a motion so clean it looked like a dance. She attacked again, faster this time, her spear spinning like lightning. Still, the human dodged. Not clumsily, not fearfully, but with rhythm and purpose. The crowd gasped. A few even whispered. Karath's strikes became faster, stronger, echoing like thunder, yet every attack missed by inches. Ryan never struck back. He only moved on with grace, patience, and a strange stillness that confused her. Why do you not attack? Karath demanded, breathing heavily. Because, Ryan said calmly, my goal is not to defeat you. My goal is to understand you. The audience erupted in laughter again, but Karath was no longer amused. Her pride burned. She thrust her spear with full power, striking the ground near his feet. The impact cracked the arena floor. Ryan didn't flinch. He looked up, meeting her golden eyes. Your power is incredible. But tell me, what are you fighting for? Karath froze. No one had ever asked her that question before. For the Valkyrans, combat was instinct, not philosophy. A test beyond combat, Karath growled. I fight for honor. Ryan smiled. Honor is good. But sometimes the greatest honor is not in winning. It's in protecting. His words were strange to her. Protecting? Was that not a warrior's duty too? She lunged again, this time slower, testing, not attacking. Ryan caught the movement, sidestepped, and gently tapped the spear's handle. It slipped from her grip, spinning away. Gasps filled the arena. Karath stared in disbelief. You disarmed me. Ryan shook his head. No, you disarmed yourself because you hesitated. Karath stood silently. In that single moment, her pride cracked like glass. But deep inside, another feeling emerged, curiosity. Human, she said quietly. How did you learn to move like that? Ryan looked up at the bright alien sky. On Earth, we have no claws, no armor, no great strength. We learn to survive by watching, thinking, and adapting. We study our enemies and ourselves. Karath's expression softened. For the first time, she saw no arrogance in his face and only wisdom. The shift, the crowd once loud and mocking, had gone silent. Even the Valkyran general leaned forward in his seat. Karath picked up her spear and looked at Ryan. Then show me this. Learning. Show me how humans train. Ryan nodded. Not in a fight. In a lesson. He stepped forward and gestured for her to mimic his stance. At first she refused, but curiosity won. Soon the fierce warrior girl stood beside the human, copying his strange hand positions and footwork. He showed her breathing control, how to shift balance, how to predict motion instead of reacting. These were simple human martial techniques, ancient, refined over centuries. Karath tried them awkwardly at first, then gradually began to understand. Her movements became fluid. Her eyes widened. This makes my strikes faster, she said in surprise. Ryan nodded. Yes, you were using strength alone. But strength without awareness is blind. The crowd began to murmur again. But this time in awe, not mockery. An unexpected bond as the suns dipped lower. The match was officially ended, declared a draw. No one had been defeated, but everyone knew something far more meaningful had happened. Karath approached Ryan and bowed slightly, a rare gesture among her people. Human, you did not fight me, yet I feel as though I have lost. Ryan smiled gently. Then you have truly won. That night, as Valoria's moons shone above the crystalline cities, Karath sat on the balcony of her quarters, staring at the stars. She thought about the human, the man who fought without fighting, who taught without boasting. Humans, she whispered to herself. They are small, fragile, yet somehow unbreakable. She felt something new awaken inside her, respect. And with that respect came curiosity, the kind she had not felt in years. Maybe she thought she had been wrong to judge them so quickly. The twin moons of Valoria Prime hung low over the crystalline cities, casting a soft silver glow. Karath stood in the arena's shadow, the echo of the earlier challenge still alive in her mind. She had expected to dominate the human warrior, yet he had not only held his ground, he had left her questioning herself. Her people whispered among themselves. The humans are fragile, they said. How can they ever survive among us? Karath, however, felt something different, respect. Humans were different from any species she had known. They did not rely on raw strength alone. They observed, they adapted, and they learned. And that, she realized, was a kind of power even she could admire. A call to action days after the duel, the Galactic Council received urgent messages from the outer systems. A massive asteroid, larger than a small moon, was drifting toward Valoria Prime. No conventional defense could stop it. Entire cities and civilizations faced destruction. Karath's heart raced as she listened to the Council's briefing. The Valkyrans were famed for their warships and weapons, but even their combined fleets might not divert such a force. Panic began to ripple through the crowd, yet Ryan Hale and his team remained calm. Captain Hale, Karath said sharply, approaching him in the council chamber. Your people have survived for centuries on a fragile planet. How will you stop this? Ryan smiled as if she had asked a question he had already answered in his mind. Not with strength alone, he said simply. We use strategy, science, and teamwork. Karath narrowed her eyes. She had never heard anyone speak of strategy without first speaking of weapons. Yet something about his calmness inspired confidence. Humans and Valkyrans unite. The Council decided to combine forces. Valkyran engineers worked with human scientists. Spaceships were fitted with human technology, lightweight shields, adaptive thrusters, and gravity manipulators. Karath trained alongside Ryan, not in combat, but in problem-solving under pressure. "Your species adapts quickly," Karath admitted one evening as they ran simulations. "Even without natural strength, your minds are remarkable." Ryan laughed softly. "And your strength, Karath, is not just physical. The courage to act, to protect others, that is something humans respect deeply." As the asteroid drew closer, teams worked tirelessly. Valkyrans and humans who had once eyed each other with curiosity now found themselves learning from one another. Karath discovered that human creativity could sometimes outperform Valkyran brute force. Ryan realized that raw courage like hers could inspire entire crews to achieve the impossible. The first attempt to divert the asteroid involved massive energy beams from orbiting stations. Valkyran ships fired plasma cannons. Humans controlled the precise angle and timing with calculations that seemed magical to the Valkyrans. The asteroid moved slightly, but not enough. Its trajectory still threatened Valoria Prime. Karath's spear flashed in the command center's holographic projection, a reminder that sometimes courage and force must combine with wisdom. Ryan turned to Karath. "We need a different approach. The asteroid is too large to destroy outright. We must change its direction slowly but consistently." Karath's eyes widened. "You mean, combine every ship's energy in perfect harmony?" "Yes," Ryan said. "We synchronize, we adjust constantly, and we adapt." The synchronization over the next 24 hours, humans and Valkyrans worked as a single unit. Valkyran ships positioned themselves in precise formations. Human crews calculated exact energy pulses. Every slight misalignment threatened failure, but every correction brought them closer. Karath, in her armor, guided the Valkyran warriors. "Hold steady. Adjust 10 degrees starboard now." Ryan directed his human team with calm authority. "Fine-tune the frequency. Increase thrust by 3%. For hours, the asteroid loomed like a silver monster in the sky. Every person in the command centers held their breath. But slowly, imperceptibly, the asteroid began to shift. The Valkyrans, who had always relied on sheer strength, now saw the power of combined intelligence, patience, and teamwork. And Karath, the proud warrior girl, felt her admiration for humanity deepen. Karath's moment of awe. Finally, the asteroid changed its course enough to miss Valoria Prime. Cheers erupted across the planet. The Valkyrans, who had doubted the humans, now stood in stunned silence. Karath, her armor scorched from hours in the command center's energy fields, looked at Ryan. You have saved my planet without firing a single weapon at it." Ryan smiled. "Sometimes the greatest victories come without fighting." Karath knelt slightly, a gesture of utmost respect in Valkyran culture. "Humans, you are remarkable." Even Tereth, her lifelong friend and rival, shook his head in disbelief. "I cannot understand it. And yet, I cannot deny it." The lesson of strength. The days after the asteroid's near collision were filled with celebration. Valkyrans praised their warriors, but they also praised the humans, particularly Ryan and his crew. Karath spent hours speaking to young Valkyran warriors, sharing what she had learned. Strength is not only what you wield in your hands. True strength is courage, patience, and the willingness to learn. Young warriors looked at her in awe. "But humans are small," one whispered. Karath smiled. "Yes, but never underestimate a mind that refuses to yield. Their hearts are strong and their courage is limitless." Ryan watched silently, proud but modest. For him, the lesson was mutual. Humans had survived for centuries not because of power, but because of adaptability, curiosity, and collaboration. Today, they had proven that even in the presence of a mighty alien warrior, humans could leave an entire civilization speechless, not with might, but with wisdom. A new era begins as the two moons set. Karath and Ryan stood together atop the highest tower of Valoria Prime. The city sparkled beneath them, a testament to both Valkyran engineering and human ingenuity. "Captain Hale," Karath said, her voice softer than usual, "I challenged you thinking I would show my strength. Instead, you have taught me a new meaning of it." Ryan nodded. "And you, Karath, have shown me that courage is more than survival. It is honor, responsibility, and the willingness to act when it matters most." The stars above seemed to shimmer brighter that night. Across the galaxy, whispers began. The humans from Earth were not merely clever or weak. They were extraordinary in ways no one had yet imagined. Karath turned to Ryan with a smile that rarely touched her lips. Perhaps we will train together again. Not as opponents, but as allies. Ryan extended his hand. Allies, he agreed. They shook hands, human and Valkyrian, a gesture that would become a symbol across the galaxy. Strength alone did not define a civilization. Wisdom, courage, and the ability to learn from one another did. And for the first time, Karath felt something she had never felt before. Hope. The humans had arrived, not as mere newcomers, but as a force that could inspire and elevate every species they encountered. And in that moment, Karath knew the galaxy would never be the same again. The true victory, news of the asteroid's survival, spread across the stars. Tales were told not of weapons or power, but of cooperation, intelligence, and humility. The Valkyrians marveled at humans' resilience. Other species whispered in awe of Earth's warriors who could stand without armor, fight without violence, and achieve the impossible. Karath returned to her training grounds, but her approach had changed. She trained not just to grow stronger, but to think faster, observe better, and act wiser. The lesson Ryan had taught her would guide her for the rest of her life. And somewhere on a distant planet, humans laughed quietly among themselves. They had not only survived among the stars, but had shown that sometimes the smallest species could leave the greatest impression.